For the third time in a year, the Washington County Public Library is asking voters to consider a levy that officials will say will be the deciding factor in whether or not library branches are forced to close. Our Chase Campbell has more.
Last week, the Washington County Commissioners approved a $500,000 levy to support the Washington County Public Library that will appear on the ballot in the November general election. The levy would cost homeowners about $18 annually per $100,000 of assessed property value. Library Director Justin Mayo says if the levy doesn't pass, it will be devastating.
If it doesn't pass, we'll have to start looking at closing locations and reducing hours, programming, materials.
Mayo says the closures would likely start with slower, smaller branches like New Matamoras, Beverly, or Barlow.
There's a lot of things you'd have to look at, but I would say you would start with these smaller ones first. And then
closing branches would deprive communities of resources that Mayo stresses go beyond checking out books, a loss that would be felt most severely in the smaller towns that would be the first to go.
In communities like NewMat, it's your fax services, it's your copy services, it's your community programs. Our community programs have skyrocketed over the past 3 years. I mean, look in Marietta alone. We don't have a bowling alley. We don't have a movie theater. So people come to our programs.
County Commission President Charlie Schilling echoed that sentiment, noting that libraries provide many residents of low to moderate income communities with technology they'd otherwise go without.
The library offers a lot of resources for folks like that need Wi-Fi or need a computer to be able to do certain things, within their life and go through certain processes. So I think it would be important. And I think it would be a detriment if that were to fail, and these small communities would lose their public library.
The same levy appeared before voters in May when it was rejected. A renewal levy appeared last November when it passed but was invalidated due to a technical issue with the ballot language. If the levy is successful this year, Mayo emphasizes that it wouldn't increase the tax burden on homeowners. It would simply make up for the funding lost after the renewal levy was voided.
Let's just restore the funding that we had lost in November.
Mayo says he thinks confusion about seeing a levy on the ballot repeatedly contributed some to voters rejecting it in May. He also cites rising property taxes as a contributing factor, though he notes that the cost of the library levy is ultimately only a small percentage of most property tax bills, one that's arguably offset by the services and resources the library provides its patrons.
In most cases, if you come to the library for a program and check out 3 books, you're covering your costs if you had to go out and buy those or that time for entertainment. So, there's certain ways you can look at it. But I do understand where they're coming from because property taxes have went up drastically over the past 5 years.
The library also saw a decrease in state funding last year, further stressing its budget. The levy goes before voters on November 3rd. In Marietta, Chase Campbell, WTAP News.